You've heard it your whole life. The Middle East has oil because of where it is. Desert, heat, ancient land. But here's what nobody tells you. Geography has almost nothing to do with it. The real reason the Middle East is sitting on half the world's oil reserves isn't about the land at all. It's about what was there before the land. Something that vanished so completely, most people don't even know it existed. And once you understand what happened there, hundreds of millions of years ago, you'll never look at a gas station the same way again. Let's start with a number that's almost impossible to comprehend. The Middle East holds roughly half of all the proven conventional oil reserves on Earth. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar. Together, they sit on an ocean of oil that the rest of the world has spent a century desperately trying to compete with. Russia has oil, the United States has oil, Venezuela has more proven reserves than Saudi Arabia on paper, but nothing compares to the sheer concentration of the Persian Gulf region. So the question isn't just where oil comes from. We've covered that. The question is why here? Why this specific patch of the planet? What did the Middle East do right that almost everywhere else did wrong? The answer begins around 300 million years ago, and it starts with a sea that no longer exists. Where Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Iran sit today, there was once a vast, warm, shallow ocean called the Tethys. It stretched across what is now the Middle East and connected all the way toward what would become Europe. This wasn't a cold, dark, deep ocean. It was warm, nutrient-rich, sun-soaked. Rivers constantly poured minerals into it from surrounding land masses. And those minerals fed something in enormous quantities: plankton, algae, microscopic marine organisms by the trillion. They bloomed, they multiplied. They lived and died in staggering numbers, raining down onto the seafloor in an endless biological snowfall that went on for millions of years. This was the beginning of the Middle East's oil, but abundant life alone isn't enough. Plenty of ancient seas had life. Most of them never became oil fields. Something else had to happen. At the bottom of the Tethys, the conditions were unusual. Very little oxygen reached the seafloor, and that changes everything. In a normal, oxygen-rich environment, dead organic matter gets eaten by bacteria and completely breaks down. Nothing is preserved. But in low oxygen conditions, the dead organisms piled up, layer after layer, perfectly preserved. Generation after generation of microscopic life, accumulating without rotting. Then sediment covered it, mud, sand, layer after layer on top. The weight of that sediment pressed down. The heat from Earth's interior rose up. At 2 to 4 kilometers of depth, temperatures hit what geologists call the oil window, roughly 60 to 120 degrees Celsius. And at that temperature and pressure, something remarkable happened. The buried organic matter transformed, first into a waxy substance called kerogen. Then heat cracked it further into liquid crude oil and natural gas. Hundreds of millions of years of accumulated life, slowly cooked into fuel. But here's the part where the Middle East story diverges from everywhere else. Oil forming underground is one thing. Oil staying underground is another. Oil is lighter than water. The moment it forms, it wants to move. It migrates upward through tiny fractures and pores in the rock, slowly rising toward the surface. In most parts of the world, it makes it. It seeps out. It oxidizes. It disappears. The geological history of most continents is too violent. Too many earthquakes, too much volcanic activity, too much erosion eating away at the surface. The oil formed, then it escaped. But the Arabian plate did something rare. It stayed calm. For hundreds of millions of years, while other parts of the world were being torn apart and rearranged, the Arabian plate sat relatively stable. The rock layers it built up remained intact. The source rock stayed buried. The oil had nowhere to go. And crucially, the geology above the oil created the perfect architecture to trap it. Thick porous layers of limestone and sandstone acted like giant sponges, soaking up the migrating oil. And above those reservoir rocks sat impermeable layers, thick deposits of salt, gypsum, and shale that oil simply cannot penetrate. Natural lids on top of natural tanks. That combination, porous reservoir below, impermeable caprock above, is what makes a working oil field. And the Middle East built them on a scale found almost nowhere else. But the story isn't finished yet, because around 30 million years ago, something happened that took these already enormous oil deposits and concentrated them further. The Arabian Plate began moving. As the Red Sea opened up on its southwestern side, Arabia started drifting northeast, slowly, relentlessly, straight into the Eurasian Plate. What happens when two continental plates collide? The crust buckles. You've seen this in miniature if you've ever pushed two pieces of paper toward each other on a table. They don't pass through each other. They fold upward. That's the Zagros Mountains, a 1,600-kilometer chain of ridges running from eastern Turkey all the way down to the Strait of Hormuz. But here's what makes the Zagros special. The mountains themselves are too deformed to hold oil. But just to their sides, the same underground folding created massive dome-shaped structures, giant geological arches buried kilometers underground. And oil, still migrating upward, hit those domes and had nowhere left to go. It pooled in extraordinary quantities. This is how Ghawar field in Saudi Arabia became the largest conventional oil field ever discovered. Roughly 70 kilometers wide and 280 kilometers long. A single underground structure that has produced more oil than the entire proven reserves of most countries. The tectonic collision didn't create the oil. The Tethys did that hundreds of millions of years earlier. The collision simply gathered it, concentrated it, locked it in. Now here's something most people never think about. The same collision that created those oil traps also created the Persian Gulf. When the Zagros Mountains pushed their enormous weight down on the Arabian crust, it bent. Like pressing on one end of a ruler, the other end dips. That dip filled with water. The Persian Gulf is, in geological terms, the basin formed by the depression of the Arabian Plate under the weight of the Zagros Mountains. And at the southern end of that gulf sits the Strait of Hormuz, roughly 55 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. 1/5 of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas flows through it. The strait exists because of the rigid rock of the Musandam Peninsula, forcing the Gulf to bend inward like a kink in a hose. The narrowest, most strategically critical shipping lane on Earth is narrow precisely because of the same geological forces that created the oil beneath it. So let's put the whole story together. 300 million years ago, a warm, shallow sea teeming with microscopic life covered the Arabian Peninsula. Those organisms died in oxygen-poor conditions, were preserved perfectly, buried under sediment, and slowly cooked into oil over millions of years. The Arabian Plate stayed stable long enough to build impermeable cap rocks on top of porous reservoir rocks, creating natural storage structures on a massive scale. Then a continental collision folded the crust into giant underground domes, concentrating the oil into megafields of a scale found almost nowhere else on Earth. And the same collision that trapped the oil also created the narrow gulf and strait through which almost all of it must now travel. Every piece of this story connects: the biology, the geology, the tectonics, the geopolitics. The Middle East doesn't have so much oil because of luck. It has oil because of an almost unrepeatable sequence of conditions that played out across hundreds of millions of years, in exactly the right order, in exactly the right place. No other region on Earth got all of them simultaneously. And that accident of deep time is still shaping wars, economies, and global power today. If this changed how you think about where energy actually comes from, hit like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, did you know the Persian Gulf itself was formed by the same collision that trapped the oil? Because most people don't. Next video, if you want me to explain how oil refineries actually turn thick crude into gasoline, jet fuel, and plastics, comment refining below.